Winston Churchill once said, "Armed with a paint box, one cannot be bored, one cannot be left at a loose end." I'm going to show you some exciting techniques that will keep you inspired and enhance your future work. Several of my students in the past have bought boxes of these pencils and really haven't had any idea how to use them. So hopefully, after showing you a few of these techniques, you'll be glad you've got them. So let me introduce you to the pencils. The first thing you need to recognise is the gold brush on the side of the pencil. This will show you that it's an aquarelle, a water-soluble pencil. Now, the way that you can sharpen these pencils is an ordinary sharpener or a little sharp knife. Another thing with these pencils is that you can rub them out while they are still dry. Once you've wetted them, it's committed to the paper. Right, we're going to do some really exciting projects. And for the first project, I'm going to show you some of the techniques that we'll be using. Right, what we need to do is to try out your pencils. And first of all, you want to try one colour dry, and then another colour with that colour and cross-hatch over the top of it. You can be more adventurous and try more colours. Perhaps we could even put a little bit of a green. Let's try that as well. Might as well. There we go. And then wash over half the colour so that you've got both techniques of dry and wet. And then wash this side over and you've got yet another colour. So you've got all those dry colour and that wet colour, and you could even take the colour and put it elsewhere. Another technique is to take the colour from the tip of the pencil with a brush, and this forms a really good watercolour wash, like that. And then you can add another colour, say this red, and you can use this one separately or together, so you've got a palette, mixing them up like that. There we are. So you've got a little bit more blue. So you've got a violet. And you can go on like that. We could add a yellow. So you've got a third colour, which could make perhaps a greeny colour. There. Right, so for our first project, we're going to go outside and I'm going to show you how to use one coloured pencil and to get some real good tones into your sketches. Now we've returned to the studio, we can now look at the techniques that I've done. This took about 20 minutes, by the way. And first of all, you need to look at the main shape of the object that you're intending to sketch, and then look at the tone from the object to the sky or the object to the foreground. And here, can you see that I've got some cross-hatching for the dark conifer tree and dark cross-hatching in under the little arch here. And I've got some open weaved dry pencil sketch all the way along the roof because it's quite dark against the sky. Some open work there and some gentle drawing in along here for the pots. And these rather nice abstract shapes of the panelling all the way across the front of the cottage. And the shading here, of course, has got dark pencil work. And of course, the more pigment you put on, when we're going to wash this over, the darker it'll be, of course. Right, then let's make this sketch into a tonal painting. First of all, you need a soft brush, possibly a soft nylon brush or a sable brush. and you need some very clean water. First of all, you need to have lots and lots of water, and you can go round perhaps over the roof so that we're spilling the water over the colour, right down there. More water, don't be frightened of the water, and just bring that gently over the top here. There, can you see the way it's all diffusing? Don't make it too perfect, because we've got a sketch here, not a photograph, you know, and it's just rather lovely like this. Bring that over there. Can you see the way it's diffusing all over the place here? Right, down there, over there. Now, that really does go into a lovely chocolate brown, because I've put more pigment there. And down past the fence and under the porch, round the saddle stones. There we are. Another wee tree there. And over the foreground. Now we can take the colour from the dark and bring a little bit more into the light area, and that gives a little bit of tone and emphasises the very light white paper. Because when you are doing a sketch, you need to have some area that is called the focal point, and the focal point is the main area of interest. And I've decided that this could be it here, just around the door and up into the conifer tree. We bring a little bit more water there, it's a dark area, and that shows up these small pot features, and into the next cottage. But I'm going to leave that as a bit of a sketch. Run a bit more water there. Now, another thing that I showed you in our first project was just to put a little bit of colour from the tip and bring that back here. So we've got some shadows coming across the front of the cottage to give a little bit of feeling of shadowed area, and it brings the structure a bit more to life. A little bit here, and tiny little bit of detail into the background here. Perhaps a wee slop of colour into the sky, and then we can leave it as that. What we're going to do is to put a package of pencil squares into our sketchbook, and we're going to use those and not the pencils themselves when we're out on location painting. So I'm putting colours like this, and this is going to be a winter landscape. So I need winter colours to be used in my sketchbook. So I'm putting these in like this. Only little tiny samples of colour, but I'm going to be using those with water and a brush outside on location. So I'm going to put these final colours in. So these are all winter colours, browns and blues and violets. Now I'm going to travel light, so that means I'll need some water, and this film container I'm going to fill up. And it's got to be absolutely watertight, and these are one of the best containers. So that is a film container, one paintbrush, one soft paintbrush, and one of these almost throwaway pens, felt tip or steel tip pens that you can quickly sketch with, let it dry, and then dip your brush into the water, take this colour from the package here and paint in your colour reference points. So we'll start off and travel light.